inactivity serves no purpose whatsoever.
Hold on 1 second, chat. I know I just started the stream, but it's not working for some reason. There we go. Oopsie, I forgot to do something. Hold on 1 second. Wait. Oh yeah, I can do it from here. Hold on, almost ready, chat. There's that. I'm gonna pin it. No, can I pin? Bro! Hold on. Oh, it wouldn't let me pin it! Bro! Oh my god, it's a mess. Hold on, let me turn this off for a second. That didn't work. What? Hold on. That worked. Let me see if I can do this. Let me see. Can I delete this? No. Of course you're gonna be stupid. Hold on, chat. Having technical difficulties. TwitchCon. Oh, that's for Europe. I was gonna say TwitchCon. Okay. Oh, wait. Ah, that's not what I want. Can I pin it? Yes! Yay! Fixed it! Is it pinned? Yes, it's pinned. Yay. Now I can go back to my stupid display capture. View dashboard. I think, okay, now I can get the stream started.
All the world holds dear is but a backdrop of
sorry,
constant
chat.
motion.
Having some technical difficulties.
I
My
stand before
lord!
it, alone and unchanging.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah, right in. Let me see. Everything's kind of glitchy for some reason. Why is my game stop being weird? Oh, new month, I forgot. Meh. New banners though, right? Yeah. Kind of really only going for weapons. I knew it was gonna be a 3-star. What's this? Oh, well, let's just check in for today. Is there a new story quest? Okay, that's a new event. I can do that off time. What's this? Something come out? Oh. Well, I'm kind of busy doing Lynette's Hangout, so... What the hell is this team? Oh! Oopsie, I didn't switch back to what's-her-face. There we
Just
go.
what will we come across this time?
Okay, now we can go back to what I was doing. Yay! So last time, we were working on Lynette's story quest, so let's go ahead and get that worked on. Because we haven't done that, I haven't finished it. Okay, anyways. This was gonna look up this. Okay, oh, let's go. I'll kind of let it play out on its own. Oh, hi, Linny and Chevris.
Lynette, you're, not at rehearsal?
Oh, sorry, autoplay.
You can drop the act, brother. In fact, I don't think either of us will have a need for acting anytime soon. You should know better than to try and keep something from me. You've never been able to do that, even when we were kids.
And that's why I tried to distract you with the masked mime show. But I guess you're just too good.
Care to introduce us to your new assistant?
This is Officer Shovras, captain of the Special Security and Surveillance Patrol. You may have met her already.
Oh, we meet again.
Nice to see you. I should clarify something. Mr. Linney's here at my invitation, not the other way around. To borrow your expression, Miss Lynette, I suppose that would make him my assistant more than anything. We've brought on Mr. Linney as a consultant in the past. He was instrumental in helping us crack a case involving a perpetrator who used magic tricks to commit crimes. I was hoping he'd be able to provide some valuable insight this time around as well.
Are you here because of the Lafayette case? I can't talk.
So you've heard everything then?
That's exactly why we're here. There's always been questions surrounding the fall of the Lefebvre family. Some people even believe the House of the Hearth was involved. Whoever was behind it all was extremely cautious. They didn't leave a shred of evidence. This very fact, however, leads me to believe it was indeed the work of that harbinger. I took a look at the entrance and exit records of all the carriages that night. Let's just say it wasn't hard to deduce that there's ill will between you two. Don't worry, I don't have any evidence to that effect, and I certainly don't plan on going to bat for such a despicable family. Plus, you were victims back then more than anything. I sought Mr. Linney's help with the smuggling case. Nothing more.
You're really teaming up with the House of the Hearth?
The way I look at it, it's a collaboration between us as people, not the organizations we represent. Besides, by working together, we can expose the truth as quickly as possible. You can hardly say that's at odds with the justice my organization strives for.
I'm assuming you wouldn't be opposed to some extra help?
Not at all. I was planning to invite you from the very beginning, Miss Lynette. It's just that my assistant here raised some objections. Linny, I'm not the same person I was back then. That little girl who did nothing but cower in the corner in fear, she doesn't need saving anymore.
I know you want to protect your little sister, but little sisters don't stay little forever.
I'm sorry, Lynette. You're right. I let my concerns get the better of me.
Oh, and the next time you want to distract me, you should try a different approach.
Who's this? You pick up a stray while I was gone?
It's a bit complicated. I'll explain later. Anyway, her name's Bonnie. Well, if there are no objections, then I suppose the only thing left to say is... Lynette, Traveler, welcome to the team.
Shovras and Lenny share with you what they learned over the past few days.
It appears the Lefebvre family was very particular in their use of insignias and emblems. The family would use different emblems to mark differences in status, blood relation, and the like. In fact, the insignia that was discovered on the pendant was used to represent an illegitimate child.
So that would mean Pierre is a bastard child. The Traveler, like, even though bastard is not technically a bad word, but it is in some places. Cuss word much?
It's highly likely.
Even though it's not
That
technically
very
a cuss
status
word.
might have been what allowed him to emerge from the fall of his family relatively unscathed. It would also explain why he was able to assume a new identity as a researcher with relative ease.
We discovered something interesting, though. After talking to some of his co-workers, it appears he pretty much works at the Institute in name only. He's practically been cast out.
Wait, what happened?
Apparently, Pierre was once addicted to synth. He tried to use the resources at the Institute to create a substance with a similar effect. He claimed it was just for research purposes, but the Institute revoked his access to the relevant materials regardless. He was placed on disciplinary leave, pending a thorough investigation of his actions. But it seems the Institute ran into some trouble along the way. could have been a lack of personnel or a timing issue. In any case, they had to table their formal investigation into Pierre. Unfortunately, that also included reporting any relevant information to the higher authorities. As for his family background, it appears none of his co-workers at the Institute were aware of that information. All they could tell us was that he was quite the recluse.
Maybe we'll have to take our investigation elsewhere then. Did you find anything useful at his residence?
Other than the pendant, we didn't find anything else of note at his residence in Poisson. Based on the samples of imitation synth we've been able to analyze, it appears the substance leaves behind strong traces wherever it's produced or stored. Those traces might not be obvious to the casual observer, but they're not something our guard poodles would miss. Pierre's home, though, came up completely clean. We didn't find any records indicating possible involvement in overseas transactions either. So, the Marechaussee Phantom didn't view him as a major suspect at first.
Maybe he had a separate, dedicated area where he made the imitation synth.
Well, his neighbors did say he was often gone for long stretches of time. You would think with him out and about so much, people would have spotted him around Poisson, but residents said they barely ever saw him in town. If his reclusive nature was just a matter of keeping a low profile, I guess it would make sense for him to have a secret base to carry out his business.
After he disappeared, the guards conducted a thorough search of Poisson, but they didn't come across any suspicious locations.
Poisson.
What is it, Lynette?
You know Hotel de Boer, where I first found Bonnie? To get there from Poisson, you have to cross a stretch of ocean. It's not somewhere a cat could just wander off on its own.
Hold on.
A cat? You mean...
There we go. Sorry, my thing's being stupid for a second, chat. Making sure everything... Why is that? Okay, never mind.
Bonnie is Pierre's cat.
Oh, that's right! When the Marechaussee Phantom first tracked him down, I remember there being something about a cat in their report. So this is her?
From what we've learned about Pierre's habits, he doesn't seem like the type to venture out without a purpose. So what you're saying, Lynette, is that Bonnie couldn't have gone missing in Poisson. If that's true, then...
She must have wandered off only after Pierre brought her to his secret base.
Exactly. Bonnie might even know where it is.
Wait, you think the cat can lead us there? But she's not trained like one of our guard poodles. How is she supposed to understand what we want her to do?
Lynette? Oh wait, I can give it a go. Meow, 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 meow. I guess. There we go. Oh, I failed. Startled, Bunny watches to hide beside Lynette. She stays there. Oh, okay.
Guess she's a little skittish around strangers.
I'll leave it to you
Meow.
then.
Meow meow.
Meow, meow, meow,
Meow.
meow, meow. Bunny seems to understand what you want to do, but she flicks her tail at me. Oh, okay.
Near the coast, the beach, and beneath the cliffs. The place we're looking for is most likely north of the court of Fontaine.
Well, I've certainly never taken a witness statement like this before.
Well, if it works out, maybe it's something worth getting used to.
Cats and humans are actually pretty alike. When it comes to communication, most of what we want to convey can be accomplished through body language alone. But humans tend to rely too much on speech to ever take advantage of that fact. Of course, body language has its limitations. You're not going to be able to get across anything too complicated.
The important thing is that we now have a lead. Let's try and find a place that matches the clues Bonnie gave us.
Oh, seriously. Go into a cutscene, bro. There we go.
seems like Bonnie is trying to take us somewhere.
Oh, sorry. Hold on 1 second, chat. I'm trying to put on a sweater. I got cold. Also, I haven't streamed in the past few days because I've been kind of feeling unwell. Okay, anyway, let's go ahead and follow Bonnie. Come on, kitty witty.
Gardamex ahead.
Look out!
Inazuma shines eternal! Shine down!
Scatter!
Really?
Feast your eyes!
Illusion shattered!
Sight clear!
Wingblade! Shine down! Torn to oblivion! Prepare to be blown away! Illusion shattered!
Diffract! Hey! Cut it out! Scanning!
Wow, Lynette, you found this place so easily. If I thought there was any chance you'd say yes, I'd recruit you into the Special Patrol here and now, no questions asked.
Sounds familiar. I pretty much receive letters daily from people trying to poach her from me.
Let's just focus on our search. There's a lot to investigate.
Okay.
Aha! Just as we thought. This is where the imitation synth was being made.
These bottles and jars, do all imitation synth?
Looks like he's got more than just imitation synths stashed around here. In addition to the raw materials needed to synthesize the substance itself, there's a large quantity of cleaning agents and a few drugs I haven't been able to identify. These cleaning agents are likely used to dispel traces of the substance, like its smell. The Special Patrol did some digging into imitation synth. Our records indicate that it's very difficult for ordinary people to detect traces left behind by the stuff. I'm sure that was the case for Pierre as well. It must have taken a considerable amount of time and skill to ensure all those traces get washed away. But what are these other drugs for?
The material these bags are made of, it's quite rare.
Doesn't it look similar to the materials used for your magic
It's
pockets?
the very same, actually. Romaritime flower fiber. But there's something special about the composition of these bags. I took a closer look, and it appears they're not only waterproof, but also corrosion and leak resistant. Even the strings look specially designed to keep the bags closed nice and tight. I came across some bags made of the same material just now, but they were much smaller and thinner. From the look of them, they seemed far less durable as well.
So kind of like one of those small sealed bags?
Very similar, actually. Normally, it would be easy for a guard poodle to sniff out the imitation synth, but if it was sealed away in a bag like that, it might be possible to elude detection for some time. But what could these big bags be for then? If the goal is to keep the imitation synth hidden and sealed away, these bags seem a bit too conspicuous.
When When the Marechaussee Phantom searched Pierre's house, there was no sign of these barrels, right?
Oh, sorry. He must have moved them, but carrying them all the way out here would attract way too much attention.
You're right. That doesn't seem like his way of doing things. How did he get them here then?
Examine the barrels. The barrels show signs of water damage. Dried up water stains can be seen around the circumference of the barrels. There seems to be a pattern in the location of the water stains. For some reason, they appear to be limited to the lower half of the barrels. The lids don't seem very tight, leaving sizable gaps around the edges, but there does not appear to be any trace of water inside the barrels.
The lower halves of the barrels appear to have been submerged in water.
Based on the various ingredients we've found, this appears to be where Pierre was cooking up his imitation synth. It looks like he used a special cleaning agent to get rid of any residual traces of the substance on his person before he left. That's how he was able to get past the guard poodles.
That's why the Marechaussee Phantom didn't find anything suspicious in his home.
So then he transferred the imitation synth into small sealed bags and took it somewhere else for the drop-off.
No. I don't believe our suspect is the kind of person who'd go around carrying incriminating evidence with him. That would potentially create too many eyewitnesses. The cleaning agent and the sealed bags might get past the guard poodles, but if a member of the public or even a guard on patrol happened to see him during the drop-off, a quick search would reveal everything. That's still a very risky operation.
Oh, excuse me. What about if the drop-off happened at sea? There'd be no one around to see him.
The barrels we found were wet around the base, but the top half was dry. As if they'd been standing upright in the water. If you put a barrel in the water, it will normally float on its side. Unless it's heavily loaded, in which case it'll sink.
So he must have used something to tightly seal the big bags full of air, turning them into airtight flotation devices.
With flotation rings around the body of the barrels, they'd stay upright in the water, and then he could afford to load them more fully.
You think he used floating barrels? I suppose if he acted at night, when there are very few other boats around and visibility is low, it's a valid theory. We can't rule it out.
But then, wouldn't the barrels be carried off by the waves or the currents? How would the person doing the pickup know where to look?
Barrels that could float away and get lost at sea. Sounds difficult to keep in one place, kind of like certain pets.
Traveler, can you come take a dip in the sea with me? I have a feeling that somewhere down there, we might find some rope. If a rope can be used to keep a pet from running away, then why not a barrel?
I like your words, Magic Man. I like your funny words, Magic Man. Okay, anyways, hold on one second. Think I got it. Okay. Oh shoot. I lost my placing. Is that what I want? Yes, okay. Where am I? Oh, I gotta go over here. Stop!
The wreckage of a small boat? This isn't the place.
Oh, there we go, over here.
This isn't the place.
There we go.
Got it. Time to go up and report.
Whee! Flopping around like a fishy. Fishy, fishy. Flopping around like a fish and hoppity hop. Now it's gotta dry off.
As expected, we found a few pieces of rope and some anchoring stones underwater. If you attach them to a floating barrel, it would look like this. With this anchoring system, it would be possible to use floating barrels for the drop-off. You would just need to drop them in the water at the agreed-upon location. We also came across the wreckage of a small boat. It must have been left out on the water and capsized due to the force of the wind and waves. Its small size, however, would have made it perfect for staying undetected.
Let's talk this through. Based on the evidence we've collected, it seems like Pierre would row a small boat out to the agreed-upon transfer point, drop off the barrels, leave, and then row back and retrieve them after the transfer was complete.
Why such a convoluted drop-off method, though? Wouldn't it be easier for both parties to meet up at the transfer point on their respective vessels and exchange the goods right then and there?
It could be that he was trying to avoid meeting up with his associate face to face. As one of the sole survivors of the Lefebvre family, maybe he was just used to that sort of elusive lifestyle.
It seems like Pierre deliberately chose the floating barrel method so that the goods could be dropped off and picked up at separate times. That way, the two parties wouldn't have to meet each other.
Well, if that's the case, they must not have a very close working relationship.
Let's not jump to any conclusions just yet. Assumptions can be detrimental to solving a case. It's possible they were just trying to keep a low profile. Two boats sailing to the same location at once could be too conspicuous. The most important thing is that we can now confirm Pierre wasn't acting alone. The floating barrel drop-off system is proof enough of that. Let's say for now that he was only in charge of producing the imitation synth. That would mean there has to be at least one other person involved in the operation, likely in charge of transporting the goods across the border.
That explains why we couldn't find evidence linking him to any overseas operations.
Since we've determined that the goods were transported by boat, maybe we can track down some travel logs or something.
We can certainly check the various ports for that information. It's possible, however, that Pierre's associate also used a small boat for the transport, and docked along the shore rather than at a large port. If that's the case, it's unlikely there would be any record left behind.
Have you looked into the ports already?
Absolutely. Before Pierre disappeared, we made sure to investigate all sorts of outward-bound vessels. We also had port authorities keep a lookout for anything suspicious. Unfortunately, we were never able to find out how they managed to get the imitation synth across the border.
A small boat and a few barrels isn't going to get you
You're
very
right.
far.
Whatever vessel was used for the pickup, the person responsible for smuggling the substance out of Fontaine would have had to use a larger vessel for the actual transport. That's the only way they would be able to smuggle on a large enough scale to make a profit. They must have found a way to disguise the imitation synth to clear port inspections.
Well, even if we can't find any travel logs, we can still find some clues. Oh, we can still search for the clues.
Exactly. We can't let any opportunities slip through the cracks. Although, given the amount of ports that could be involved, we should probably split up.
I'll run home and ask some of my brothers and sisters to try and dig up some information.
I should also head back and update my platoon on our progress. I'll grab some reinforcements while I'm at it. Lynette, Traveler, why don't you head to Lumideus Harbor and see what you can find out?
All right. Come on, Bonnie. You too.
Oh, 1 second. Okay. No, I was looking up something real quick. Okay, go to Lumideus Harbor. Where? Oh, right here.
Oh, Lynette, Traveler. And Bonnie, too. What brings you all here?
Did something happen?
We're here to check the travel logs. You update them on the situation.
Oh. I see. Thank you for everything you're doing for the people of Fontaine.
What are you doing here?
I'm in charge of guarding the port. You mentioned you were after some travel logs, right? I can go fetch those for you.
Looks like I've got another hard day of work ahead of me.
Things usually pretty hectic around here?
No, not usually. It's this incident that happened recently. Before that, everything was normal. All we had to do was confiscate anything suspicious and we could call it a day. Pretty simple stuff. But things are much more complicated now. We somehow let suspicious cargo pass through the port undetected. Not even our guard poodles were able to sniff it out. Even worse, we still don't know how the perpetrator was able to conceal the goods so well.
By suspicious cargo, do you mean imitation synth?
Yep. However, prohibited substances are just one example. We confiscate all sorts of contraband during the course of our inspections. Or at least, we're supposed to.
So what happens to the goods you confiscate?
Oh, we keep them in a storage locker. If they turn out to be something particularly dubious, we'll turn them over to the Maison Orderly. If the goods are only slightly suspicious but could otherwise be harmless, like raw materials that could potentially be used to create contraband, we return them to the ship they were confiscated from, instead of letting them pass through the port.
Sorry for the wait. These are the travel logs for all the recent activity at the port.
Oh, you brought Gerard with you.
Actually, he followed me here himself. It's like he smells something on me. Huh. I wonder why Gerard is reacting to you two so strongly.
Whatever Gerard smelled on you probably came from us.
We were so careful not to touch it, but we still ended up with traces on us. If it leaves a residue so easily, I just don't understand how the culprit was able to disguise the goods at all.
Why don't you have a look at the travel logs first? All ships coming in and out of the port are recorded here, except for the ones the port authorities ride to and from work.
You flip through the numerous travel logs, you notice several instances where the Humane Society's listed. The name really seemed to stand out.
The Humane Society.
We encountered that organization before,
Their
right?
name is all over the exit logs. The purpose for leaving is always listed as overseas adoption.
Ah, the director of the organization explained that, actually. He said a lot of the cat and dog breeds unique to Fontaine are also very popular overseas. So, his organization offers an overseas adoption program.
Bernard, the director of the Humane Society, was the man who came looking for Bonnie earlier.
The cat that fled from Pierre looked just like the cat that the Humane Society's looking for. Could that really be a coincidence? Seemed as if Bernard was hiding something. He seemed so insistent, but only ran a cursory check before just leaving like that. When he came looking for Bonnie earlier, what if he wasn't really there to check if Bonnie was his missing cat? Maybe he was there for some other
Have you
purpose.
figured it out too, Traveler? The way the criminal disguised the goods? When Bernard asked to take a closer look at Bonnie, he was actually checking whether there was any imitation synth in her stomach.
He was using the animals at a shelter.
Oh, wait, what?
The sealed bags we found at the secret base. They were specially made to be corrosion resistant.
So that they wouldn't be
And there were gaps
digested.
around the lids of the barrels, and airbags were used to keep them upright in the water.
So that the animals would be able to
Those
breathe.
drug Shivers found at the secret base. She most likely didn't recognize them because they're not used on human beings. It's an anesthetic used on pets. The perpetrator must have given it to the animals.
So that they would keep still in the floating barrels.
Must have made the animals swallow the sealed bags full of imitation synth at his secret base. Then he stuffed them into floating barrels and left the rest to Bernard.
The sealed bags combined with an animal's body odor would certainly be enough to mask the scent of imitation synth.
During our inspections, we would have never thought to inspect the bellies of those animals for anything suspicious. Even if we tried to feel around for something, I'm sure it would be difficult to detect.
Exactly.
Poor kitties.
I bet Bernard even transported animals with synth in their stomach alongside ones without. That way, it would be even harder to say with certainty that something was amiss.
Do you think Bonnie could have imitation synth in her stomach?
She's probably in the clear. Otherwise, Bernard would have never left without her. I'm guessing he didn't know whether Pierre had already hidden the next batch of imitation synth before he fled. Just imagine. He sees the notice we put in the Steambird, and it turns out that one of the very cats he gave to Pierre for the smuggling operation is out in the open, roaming the streets of Fontaine. If Pierre had already hidden the next batch of imitation synth, then Bonnie would practically be living proof of their crimes. He would have had no choice but to go after her.
So, that's why he came to find you and insisted on taking a closer look at the cat.
The fact is probably what spared Bonnie.
Wait a second, I'm a little lost here. I get the part about hiding the substance in the pets, but those, what did you call them again? Floating barrels? Why even put the animals in there in the first place? If you've got something as convenient as a floating barrel, why not just stuff it with the imitation synth directly? Why not wait to hide the stuff until after the exchange has been made?
In order to make sure the animals could swallow the sealed bags, they made them extremely thin. Had they not done that, the animals would have likely bitten or chewed through them.
They also would have needed a lot of cleaning agents to get rid of the
That step
resulting
would have
smell.
required a lot of energy, as well as a certain amount of technical expertise. So, it was better left to the more experienced Pierre. We've already proven how easy it is to pick up trace amounts of imitation synth, so I'm sure Bernard was taking all the precautions he could to avoid the same fate.
Okay, then let's head to the Humane Society right away and bring that guy to justice. I'll bring a Gardamek to speed up the process.
Ugh.
The headquarters of the Humane Society should be somewhere around here. Bernard could show up any moment now.
Ah, you're the people from earlier. Wait, you're from the guards?
After him! We can't let him get away! Give it up, Bernard.
Mercy, have mercy. I'll talk. I'll tell you everything I know.
The Humane Society has done so much good over the years, and yet you have committed such an atrocious deed in its name.
Look, I didn't have a choice, okay? My father cared about those blasted animals so much, he didn't bother to take care of his human wife and son at all. While those animals were showered with love, I lived worse than a dog.
No one asked. Tell me, how did you first get to know Pierre?
Well, after I took over the Humane Society, it gradually became harder and harder to maintain its operations. Until one day, someone suddenly passed me a letter. It said that I could stand to get a large sum of money as long as I helped them to transport some animals abroad. It was only after a few such transports that I finally understood what I was really transporting. But then, Pierre wrote to me, saying that we were already partners in crime and that I better keep cooperating with him if I didn't want to be reported to the guards.
Bernard's expression seems a bit unnatural. There's a hint of dishonesty in his trembling voice. He's lying!
You knew it from the very beginning, didn't you? The reason why you had to go through so many steps just to transport some animals.
I'd suggest that you confess everything right now if you don't want to add anything else to your list of crimes.
Yes, officer. I would order wooden barrels and flotation devices according to his instructions, and then load the sleeping animals onto a boat. Once I sailed to the location he provided, I would dump everything together into the sea. And a few days after that, I'd come by again in my boat and pick up the animals sleeping in the barrels.
Nut.
Once I had received enough of them, I'd bring them to the harbor to be adopted abroad. That guy, Pierre, he was running the entire show. He set up all the meeting times and found all the foreign adopters. And he even supplied all of the goods, too. I just did the transport. He was the one who planned out and executed everything else.
So where is he now?
Look, I don't know, okay? I've never ever met him in person. We've only ever communicated through letters.
And when did he send his final letter to you?
Just last night, he said that the Marechaussee Phantom is now after him, so he's planning to go into hiding for some time. He didn't mention where he's thinking about going, though, but he did tell me to look out for the guards.
It's been a few days since Pierre's last appearance. I'd wager that he sent that letter after he found his hiding spot.
So where's the letter now?
I burned them. It was on his orders. I had to burn every letter after reading them. I wasn't even allowed to share them with the rest of the society employees.
Sure sounds like you're trying to use the lack of witnesses or evidence to pin the blame on Pierre.
No, I swear, this time I'm only telling you the truth.
Well, we can check the truth of your statements at the Opera House. I hope you know what'll be coming for you if I were to find any discrepancy between the evidence and the testimony you just gave.
I know. I swear I was just telling the truth.
My thanks to you both. Had it not been for you, I really don't know what would have happened to this case.
Bonnie helped, too.
That's true. It was all thanks to her that Bernard was finally exposed.
Bonnie suddenly runs and hides behind you and Lynette.
And it looks like she's grown quite fond of you two as well. Then I'll leave you be. Just let me know if you find any other new leads.
Lynette's expression seems a bit unnatural. Seems that Lynette saw something on her mind. Talk to Lynette. Something on your mind still?
It was that obvious, huh? Well, even though it didn't feel like Bernard was lying, after talking to him, I'm getting an even stronger sense that something's not quite right. We investigated so quickly that perhaps we've missed a thing or two along the way. Let me activate deduction mode and consider things again from the top to see if we can find anything new. Is there still anything unresolved or strange that we should try to consider?
Bernard's letters.
Bernard claims to have received a letter last night from Pierre. In the letter, Pierre stated that he had gone into hiding. Is there something wrong with the letter?
The lost cat. Wait, hold on. The lost cat, Bonnie. Bonnie had already been on the loose for a few days, blah, 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 blah. We found her yesterday morning. That means that she must have already broken free when the letter was written. And then the letter's purpose. If the point of the letter was to tell Bernard to get on his guard, then why didn't I also warn him about Bonnie? To my conclusion.
If Bonnie had imitation synth in her body, then she was a liability that had to be recovered at all costs. But if she wasn't carrying anything, then it would have made sense to tell Bernard not to worry. And thinking about it, Bernard only attracted our attention in the first place because he came to look for Bonnie. Could it be that the person who wrote the letter also knew nothing about Bonnie's whereabouts? Or they had a separate goal entirely?
Wait. About where we found
The
Poisson.
Marechaussee Phantom found Bonnie and the Lefebvre pendant at Pierre's residence. That was the beginning point of our investigation.
Oh, the end of Lefebvre. Lefebvre family is infamous in Fontaine, and even their innocent Shions become targets of revenge. But Pierre just carried the pendant with him as if it was just an ordinary piece of jewelry. And then initial suspicious. Oh. Pierre became the key suspect in the case because of a suspicious cat and a suspicious pendant. Okay.
Why would he leave such an obvious trail for us to follow, when he took so much care to not leave any traces of imitation synth in his home?
There's an unexplained part in the operations of this trafficking ring.
Well, we've discovered that Bernard is responsible for the trafficking, while Pierre deals with supplying the goods. Is there something else in this scheme that we're missing?
Ingredients. According to the Chevreuse' investigation, Pierre has been formally reprimanded for his synth-related research and can no longer get any materials for the Fontaine Research Institute. Ledger. Bernard can be compensated for his work after completing a shipment. No suspicious record would be left as long as he receives the funds as an individual, rather than through the Humane Society. No, I don't think it can be
There's
used
no
to
need
answer
to
out.
rush. Let's see if we can find any other suspicious points about this case.
Now behave, and follow me to the interrogation room.
Ow! That hurt. Ow!
They're about to leave. Is it okay to let them go? Oh, shit, I failed. We can leave, but on authentication to the guards is supposed to rescue the animals
Is
of the Humane
everything
Society.
really over? I still feel like the relationship between Pierre and Bernard is not as simple as it appears. Also, I've had this strange sense that something's off the entire time we've been on the case. And it has only gotten worse. No good. I've still got nothing, and I'm nearly out of energy.
Don't force
All right,
yourself.
I'll stop thinking about it for now. At the very least, we've made it so that no more animals will suffer like those poor animals did. And that's what I hope. Let's go to the Humane Society and see if there are any animals left that might still need our help before my energy for today completely runs out.
Oh, well, okay. Damn, I gotta do the other one. I know. I gotta try to do the one. I have to pass it, I guess. I know. Oh.
Now behave.
Ow! That hurt.
Yes, okay, got it. Wait, what? Oh, I gotta talk to fucking...
Is everything...
Okay. I have to talk to Lynette. Okay, hold on. Oops. You have to talk to Lynette about getting hints, and then we gotta go to them.
We investigated... Is there still any... The Mars show safe...
No! There we go.
There's no need to rush. Bernard claims...
No! Stop! Oh my god.
If Bonnie had and thinking about, could it be that... Well...
Hold on 1 second, chat. I gotta take this off. Drop you nuts. I didn't know this, but the hangout would be so difficult. Let's see, ingredients, and then ledger, and then submit conclusion. What?
There's no need to rush.
Okay, no, that's bullcrap. What? Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me.
Perhaps.
Oh, I gotta do this all over again. Okay, can I leave the stupid... Can I do this over again? Oh, it's too hot for this.
Now behave.
Ow, that hurt.
Oh my god, this is... It's gonna annoy me. It's gonna bug me. Okay, try this again. Because apparently I don't know what I'm doing. I have to look at this carefully because this is stupid.
It was that obvious. We investigated. Is there still the Marechaussee Phantom?
Okay. And then initial suspicious. And then submit conclusion.
Why would he leave? Bernard claimed.
Okay.
If Bonnie had and thinking about, could it be that the...
Okay, and the final thing.
Well, we've...
So, ingredients. Ledger. And then submit conclusion. What?
There's no need to rush. Let's see if we can find...
Okay, that's stupid because it says ledger and then it says complete conclusion. Whatever.
Now behave.
Ow, that hurt.
There we go. Okay, got it. My mom said not until 45. Hold it right there.
Is there something else you need from me, traveler?
Bern and Pierre, they weren't actually acting alone, were they?
I see. It all makes sense now.
Hey, what are you talking about? Look, even our confessed criminal here has no idea what you're saying.
And I'm not going to be streaming it,
kept
so...
in the dark all along. And I assume it's the same with Pierre.
Bernard thought he was communicating with Pierre. But for all this time, neither of them knew.
That never quite added up for me. Why did Pierre feel compelled to return to his home with Bonnie and the pendant and make them so easy to find for the Marechaussee Phantom?
Wow, I don't know what either of this is. Oh, and considering his precarious situation, the pendant should have been the last thing Pierre would leave lying
Both
around.
Both of these things are in stark contrast to his usual meticulous and vigilant behavior. There's only one reasonable explanation. He was following orders, just like Bernard. He probably received the following instructions right before the Phantom came knocking on his door. Bring the cat and the pendant, and our undercover agent will be sure to help you. Unbeknownst to him, however, the third person who wrote that letter to him had long decided to sacrifice him and Bernard to save themselves.
Honestly, the third person probably planned to sell both of them out from the very beginning.
What? You can't be serious. There was a third person involved?
If you focus only on Bernard's testimony, it's easy to believe that only Bernard and Pierre were working together. The case appeared extremely simple. Bernard did the trafficking, Pierre the imitation synth production, drugging, and stuffing.
With everything accounted for, the third person would then be cleared of all suspicion.
Wait. But that doesn't make any sense. If that's the actual truth, then as soon as Pierre is caught, he'll explain his side of the story and the third person will...
Yep, which is why the third person made sure that Pierre would never be found again. Once they had instructed Pierre to expose himself, the third person wrote to Pierre again, suggesting that everything had been taken care of, and he should take Bonnie and safely return to his base.
And made him
Of course,
disappear.
Pierre's disappearance at such a sensitive time immediately made him a prime suspect. Knowing that Bonnie had last been seen with him, all the third person would have to do from that point on would be to lead the Phantom to investigate the Humane Society and get Bernard to confess the truth.
And Pierre would have seen as having gone into hiding in anticipation of getting
Wait.
caught.
So you're saying that the letter I received yesterday, the one that made me think Pierre was still alive, it was also sent by the third person?
Is that what happened? I'll get back to headquarters right away and reinvestigate this case from the top.
Not so
Chevra
fast.
said that assumptions can be detrimental to solving a case. Someone among us, however, has been feeding us all kinds of preconceived notions ever since our first meeting. They suggested that Pierre's disappearance was an attempt to escape the judgment of the law, and that Pierre was a scion of the Lefebvre family. But if the disappearance is truly just a cover-up for a murder, then couldn't the true scion have been an illegitimate daughter, rather than an illegitimate son?
Miss Elodie Lefebvre. I can't even spell that. I can't even say that right.
Haven't you taken this joke a bit too far? You're right. I did let a lot of assumptions get to my head when I first started to talk to you about the case. I'll make sure to correct my behavior.
You deliberately fed us lies, but even you could not control every last detail of your plan. There was a flaw in your scheme, and something didn't quite go as planned. Getting the Marechaussee Phantom to notice Pierre was only the first part of your plan. Had they failed to take notice of the Humane Society, they could have cast a wider net, and you couldn't predict what they might possibly find if given enough time. This, of course, was the main weakness of your plan.
And once a special patrol and Lenny got involved.
As someone accustomed to acting from behind the scenes, you didn't want to take the risk of personally proposing a raid on the Humane Society. So, you thought about pulling a few more strings, so all the suspicion would point towards Bernard and his society.
Oh no. No! Don't spill on the floor. Damn it. I'm spilling everything. Ow. A great option, of course, would be to also dispose of Bonnie and leave her body at Pierre's base in anticipation of a later discovery.
Once the Phantom expanded their search, it would only be a matter of time before they found Pierre's base. If a cat last seen with the suspect turned up dead at the imitation synth base, it wouldn't be long until the Phantom would figure out exactly how she had been mistreated and turn their eyes towards the one organization that has been sending boatloads of animals out of Fontaine.
However, something unexpected happened at the base.
It was probably during your ambush of Pierre. You didn't even have the time to check if she had already been stuffed full of imitation synth. Still, you soon found another opportunity. Before long, Bonnie had made her way back into the city, and even popped up on the Steambird. Like Bernard, you desperately wanted to confirm the contents of her stomach, so you hurried to find us. Unlike Bernard, however, you were hoping that Pierre did have the time to make her swallow a load of imitation synth. While investigating the suspect's cat, we unexpectedly discovered that the suspect has been smuggling imitation synth using living animals as intermediaries. That was your plan, in any case. With that, you'd have been able to lead the investigation towards the Humane Society.
But you were extremely unlucky.
Bonnie had managed to escape before Pierre was able to stuff her full of imitation synth. That part of your plan could no longer be carried out. But as shrewd as you were, you came up with another plan right away. You manipulated the Traveler and I to help you identify Bernard as a key suspect.
You knew Lenny was investigating the case with Chevres.
You used the Lefebvre name as bait to get us to join your investigation. With 2 extra bodies around, the Special Patrol is sure to soon take note of the strange event of Bernard somehow having a reason to look for Pierre's cat.
So, what you're saying is, I went to all that trouble just for the chance that you might put forth the suggestion that would lead you down the wrong path.
Of course, you did far more than that. Just now at Lumidus Harbor, were you not the person who highlighted the suspicious activities of the society?
By showing us the port's travelogues, I cannot talk.
Oh,
You even highlighted the society's activities during your compilation of the logs, so they'd be immediately visible to anyone examining the records. Moreover, the logs contained no records of the Port Authority's activities. In other words, your activities.
and what are you trying to suggest with that?
I am insinuating that you had plenty of opportunities to transfer the raw materials for imitation synth from the harbor to a boat, and then sail over to the meeting place full of floating barrels.
You'd open the lids and also dump in the raw materials. As long as you did it before Pierre came back for his pickup, there'd be no one the wiser.
And that's how neither the trafficker nor the manufacturer knew there was a third person who supplied the raw materials, and surreptitiously operated between them.
Then you instructed Bernard to prepare the floating barrels and the animals. First, you got in touch with both parties and secured the raw materials. Let's just say this. After that, you slipped the raw materials into the barrels next to the animals and requested that Pierre pick up the barrels and bring them back to his
Pierre
base.
manufactured imitation synth using the raw materials you provided, stuffed the animals, and placed the animals back into the barrels. Having received the green light from you as Pierre, Bernard then retrieved his animals and shipped them out of Fontaine once he had received enough for a full batch. This is the truth behind your smuggling ring.
I can't believe it. I never put two and two together.
Because you were stupid.
You've sure got an extremely lively imagination.
So what do you think she's going to say next?
Do you have any evidence?
But do you have any evidence?
It appears that it's quite easy to predict what you'll think or say. Then if we apply that to this case, we can also think of a few places to look for incriminating evidence. You know very well that this case will not end until Pierre is found. So you will have him commit suicide out of fear and shame to end the investigation for good. That way, you can also pin the blame for the overseas smuggling activities, the theft of the harbor's confiscated raw materials, and even the Lefebvre name on him. But you still wanted to appear as if he had sent that last letter to Bernard, so you have to make sure
Hello?
he cannot be found until after
Oh,
Bernard has
can you come here
confessed
for
to
a
the
second?
authorities. To do that, you either will hide his body until you found an appropriate time to set up a fake suicide scene, or you'll dump it someplace where it'll be hard to determine the exact time of death. Submerged in water, for instance. The location would ideally allow you to keep the body hidden for some time while also letting you keep an eye on it.
You could also keep them in a very cool environment to be
There are
handled
only
later.
so many options to hide a person's time of death after all. As long as the Phantom investigates each of the possibilities in turn, they'll surely find Pierre's remains. Especially since, as the prime suspect who will now be taken into custody, you will no longer have the time to move him or set up a fake suicide scene to cover up the murder.
How absurd. And on what grounds will you order my arrest? Don't think for a second that your spouts of nonsense will amount to any kind of real argument. After all, I'm...
Elodie Lefebvre!
Oh,
As the captain
hello,
of the Special
Lynette.
Security and Surveillance Patrol, I hereby declare you as a suspect in the case. If you have any objections, you may raise them later during interrogation.
Chevrolet Lenny!
That's right. We received a message from Lumidus Harbor that you were going to investigate the Humane Society. We didn't expect to run into you at such a critical moment.
While at the harbor, we noticed something else extremely interesting. Apparently, you often used all kinds of excuses to swap your shifts. And if one were to match the times of your shifts to the activities of the Humane Society and those of certain foreign ships, they'd find them to be an exact match.
That's just a coincidence.
Yes, I'm sure you have already thought of a dozen different ways to explain away the suspicious activities, but as far as evidence goes, that should be enough to warrant taking you into custody.
Don't worry. If it turns out that the guards are still unable to find any evidence after all this, Lynette and I will do everything in our power to clear your name.
Although judging by her reaction, I assume no follow-up from us will be needed.
The Lefevres were infamous for using disguise and infiltration to achieve their goals. Who would have thought that they would have planted someone within the guards?
Judging from the timeline, they likely arranged for you to enter the guards before the fall of the clan. But they probably didn't expect you to turn it to your advantage and use your job to save yourself during the purge.
Not only that, but you actively participated in the interrogation, arrest, and judgment of the Lefevres during their fall, thus clearing yourself of suspicion. You brutally and cruelly abandoned your allies as soon as they outlived their usefulness, just like a lizard cutting off its own tail in order to live. You've been doing this for years.
So,
Oh, whoa, Bernard's only knocked out. Oh, dang.
What was that word you used? Ally? You think that someone as foolish as him is worthy to call himself my ally? They were worthless scum, all of them. Not just Bernard and Pierre, but those Lefevres too. They always just saw me as a tool. I lost all my chances of a normal life just because I was born into their lot. Not only that, but because they wanted me to become an undercover agent.
Blah,
They
blah,
stripped
blah,
me
blah,
of
blah.
my name, too. I had to live in constant fear of them all. Do you
Oh my God, I
know
don't care.
anything about what I've been through over all these years?
I don't, and neither do I care.
No one asked about your past.
Are you for real? Aren't you a Lefebvre victim too?
Elodie, you're the only one still living under the shadow of a name.
That's enough. Keep your hands where I can see them and do not resist arrest.
What's going on?
If you have more to say, save it for the interrogation room.
Oh, what a weirdo.
What a joke. What a joke. Hey!
Is that a bomb?
Don't come any closer.
What's that?
Know what this is? I've secretly planted loads of explosives in the Humane Society. Just one step closer, and whether they're cats, dogs, or just unlucky human employees,
Misco
they'll all be
Psycho.
blown up into smithereens. Surely you bunch of goody two-shoes won't let that happen, right?
Wait, assist Lenny in deceiving Elodie. Okay. Wait. Huh? Wait. Boom. 4. That's not gonna. Nope. I'm gonna suck. Whoa, just calm down for a minute here.
That's enough! I have nothing left to say to any of you. Gardamex, get him!
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I
Not good.
failed.
She's trying to escape. We need to end this fight as soon as possible.
Breaking new ground! Come at me!
Windblade!
There is no escape. Inazuma shines eternal.
Busted so quickly, huh? Good thing I've already bought enough time to escape.
As Elodie begins to believe that she may have finally made it, she's knocked out hard.
Phew. So I was right after all. It's easier to deal with the person causing the problem than the problem itself.
And what was about the
This
device
is
she
it.
had?
Looks like it's just a toy.
So she really was just
Guess
bluffing.
that's probably why she suddenly flipped and knocked out Bernard. He probably knew that there were no explosives at the society.
She also pretended like she had a villainous breakdown.
Well, given that she never even showed her face to Bernard and Pierre, I had my doubts that she'd have gone to the society in person to plant explosives.
Thank you for your help, everyone. I'll take them back for thorough questioning and find someone better to take over the Humane Society. I might need a few statements from everybody. Would you be able to come with me?
If statements are all you need, can Lenny provide them on my behalf? I still need to go back and explain some things to the crew. I also had an appointment with the Traveler before we got interrupted.
Oh, you mean when you said I could stop by your place?
Ah, so you do remember. Yes, I invited you to come over to our place. Once I'm done talking with the troop, I'll make a nice cup of tea and bring Bonnie to wait for you outside of my door.
Okay. Oh. Just knock that, okay.
tea and a cute kitty. Truly the best combo for standby mode. Want some?
A cup of tea, please.
I hope you'll like it.
Are you not interested in any follow-up
Not at
developments
all.
from it?
Information is indeed very important, but if you were to try to collect every piece of information you come across, your efficiency would actually decrease. Plus, if you just think about it, what sounds more fun? Writing a statement or enjoying a tea party?
The tea
Great
party.
answer. That'd be my pick too. Had we not run into that case, we could have spent the entire day like this. But now I'm running low on both time and energy.
With quality time, you should be able to recharge more
You're
quickly.
right. I can sense it. I'm recharging very quickly at the moment.
I still have one question though. When did you start to suspect Elodie?
Something about her rubbed me the wrong way since the very beginning. But to be more precise, it was probably around the time when I saw Bonnie try to get away from her.
Back then, Elodie tried to get close to Bonnie.
Elodie tried to get close, but Bonnie deliberately dodged her. Maybe Bonnie had tried to evade her before at Pierre's base. Or perhaps Bonnie just instinctively knew that she wasn't a good person. Not everyone who likes cats is a good person. But if cats like you, you're probably alright.
Fair enough.
Humans tend to overthink things, but cats rely on their instincts, and they're pretty sharp. I mean, just look at Bonnie. She took a liking to you the moment you met.
Okay. Alrighty, got one more thing to do. Okay. I don't know why I just saved that. Oopsie. Okay. And then go here. Bum, 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 bum. Is it? Which one is it that I want? Okay, so it's this one. Got it. What is it? Is it? Okay. Where's she at? Oh, I have to go and teleport, huh? Yep. This one is a quick one, it looks like. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm
I
almost
didn't
done.
like that. So, we're looking for Bonnie.
I picked the wrong one. Shoot. Gotta be kidding me. No, cancel.
Huh. I didn't like. Clearly, there's some design. Let's see. 4. Well, the cards fell on the ground though, so if you want to get the right. So, to put it another way, if picking. Or. Thank you. This one is final, I promise. Here, take the Facecam. Also.
How about you do neither? That applies to both to your troop and to Bonnie's owner. Oh, trope.
What you're saying is, since nobody's come looking, I can just keep hanging out with Bonnie for a bit longer? Is that really okay?
Well, Bonnie sure seems to like that idea. 10. Oh, I got 11. Sweet. Okay.
You make a good point.
We can stick around here for a while.
Okay, well, assuming Bonnie hasn't strayed too far from where she went missing, there's a chance we might bump into her owner in either the Steambird offices or the restaurant. So, stick around here in standby mode? Yeah, that suits me.
If you're gonna go in standby
Good
mode,
idea. Bonnie's definitely hungry.
shall we get some snacks for us too?
May as well. We
Oh,
could
let's find a place to chill.
when I was trying to find somewhere I could space out earlier, I mean, collect my thoughts,
Oh, my
I
phone's being
figured the
stupid.
cafe might be a good shot. Alright then. Plan of action? Spend the whole day spacing out. I mean, in standby mode.
Oh, that one was easy. Okay, so that leaves everything. Okay. Yeah, everything's finished. Okay. Alrighty, I am done with that. Yeah. Okay. And then let me go into end streaming mode. Alrighty. I know this was a quick stream chat. I apologize, but at least I got her story mode finished. So, tomorrow,
Add Astra.
I'm not sure. Maybe I'll
Thank you
stream
for
Honkai Star Rail. I still have to do a quick update on it, but we
Add
can do
Astra.
Honkai Star Rail tomorrow. Because that will probably be fun to do. Let me do this real quick. Yeah, since I basically just do most of my farming and stuff off screen, we can just do Honkai Star Rail tomorrow. Make it just, kind of like a quick and simple stream. Because I haven't played Honkai Star Rail in a hot minute. Hold on, real quick though. What was I working on? There we go. Okay. Exit out. There we go. Alright. Yeah, so we could tomorrow do Honkai Star Rail. Fun. But I hope y'all enjoyed the stream though. It was a quick and easy stream, but I finished this the stupid story time like I wanted to. Not story time, the hangout. And I was actually streaming for over an hour too, so that's good. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed. I am gonna go hop on and do something else. But I hope y'all enjoyed.